Welcome back to the Mr. Gloat Podcast. Today, as we're already sharing out the first half of this content, today we are going back to the second content of my topics for this episode. Now, the last episode, the power went out before I started recording, so I couldn't get nothing on Access, but I got enough information to talk about stuff while going on. So, this is going to be a short video as well, just for the heck of it. I was going to make a full 2-hour episode, but I decided to take it off for now. And you know what? I'm actually going to settle for some, probably some hour episodes for the remainder of this month because, well, for some reason, for two reasons. One is I've recorded over, let me look at my account again. Did 33 episodes. And today's 34. And, well, today's now episode 35 as you're watching this. So, yeah, I've actually done a lot just coming out this year because I managed to release not 1, not 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is episode 10 of this month. I'm mostly thinking about maybe just releasing 10 episodes every month. Take some time, maybe a week. Because I am uploading sometimes 3 episodes every few days and then take a few days off, upload another episode, come out a couple days, wait 5 days to upload another one. I always try to do frequently every day to just take some time off. They're not hard for me to edit, it's just content but that's mostly it. So that's mostly the second reason is why I think it should just take some time off for that. But oh no, I'm on a roll. But the real topic today, guys, is what I talked about. Well, I forgot what I was about to talk about. I forgot my topic. But to be honest, let's just get back to recent information. This episode has nothing to do with anything else. I forgot the title, but I remember one thing. Guys, the last time, I do apologize for this. This was my bad. When I actually made the video titled More Potential Fights Coming, episode 32, and I actually wrote a description as I'm going to write one right now, just to type one in right now. I type in quick note, this title of the video was my bad. It was supposed to be titled Is Ajit Caballel an unlucky boxer? And mostly that was just me talking about his resume in that episode. But the reason I didn't make it the title of that episode is because I didn't want to be a misogynist. Because several months ago, I became someone online called me a misogynist, which I'm assuming it was because I made a title of a video titled Japanese Women Have No Business in Pro Boxing, ? I said ? Japanese women have no place in boxing, ? Which was, and I did it ? Because I wanted the people to think what you viewers think if Japanese women have no place. Because Japanese women in the lower weight class of boxing have been filled with bad luck. We only have one Japanese woman, well now two, including Mizuki Hiruda and Samira Yamanaka. But of course, some of them have been battling it out every single year in their life because there's a lot of Japanese women leaving their country, going across the world, boxing from other backyards, going to some other female's backyard and boxing just to come back home empty-handed for no reason. And it just makes you wonder how unlucky that is. It's not like how Iri Matsuda went to Mexico to be one of the other victims for another female waste of time, and it was unexpected. And as I'm going down here, I'm going to go to the atom weight right now as we speak. What does this have to do with Ajit Caballel? I talked about his resume. I talked about how Zhou Zhang might be the unluckiest heavyweight that just wasted his time for no reason boxing, got 0 title fights, and how I talked about how Asia was so the worst country. Well, not the worst continent if you're talking about Western Asia or Eastern or Southern or Northern Asia, from land down under to Russia. That those countries have had their title fights, but not Eastern Asia. And even though South America has failed hardcore, at least they had title fights, which I have talked about. Keep that in mind. But because Ajit Cabello has fought for 15 years in boxing and has 0 title fights, and he's fought longer than Anthony Joshua or Alexander Usyk when it comes to the years they fought in boxing, which is why. But I decided not to do that because I didn't want to be hateful for it. So, but again, people aren't watching my content, so keep that in mind. But yeah, like I said before, the Japanese women in boxing, and this topic, I don't want to put this topic out because the entire video of this, I'm still trying to figure out why I'm even recording this. I forgot what I was actually talking about a couple of days ago, and now my brain is fried up in anger. But I'm just gonna continue talking. So Iri Matsuda, former unified atomweight champion, lost against Esnida Olmos, who is a Mexican 26-year-old fighter who's 13-0 in 1 draw, 1 knockout, defeated Iri in her backyard of Mexico in April, is now coming out in 5 months on September the 19th. She's going back to the same venue where she fought multiple fights against Japanese women. It's ridiculous. She's defeated and it's crazy. She's taken on a Thailand woman in July last year. Mika Iwakawa from Japan, September last year. This is ridiculous. Like, man. And now they're fighting for an IBO atomweight. Like, when's the last time the IBO belt has been on the line? Nope. So the IBO belt is now becoming the inaugural title this year. So the atomweight division has now put in the inaugural IBO belt for the first time on September against Marina Loreto, who is a Japanese woman who did lose against now the WBO winner, Gabriel Timmer, who was from the country of Turkey, which was in December last year. And yes, Marina fought in Gabriela's backyard and lost. So again, the odds of her defeating a Mexican woman in her backyard is not good. Like, what are the odds of any of these other non-Japanese people fighting in the Japanese backyard instead? Like, it just seems so unfair to understand pushing in that type of fortitude, because these Japanese women, there's so many Japanese women in the lower weight classes that they just don't seem good to fight in the division whatsoever. And I just don't see that. But again, you got to understand, you got to put yourself in there no matter what you have to do. You got to get yourself out there. And that's what I love about these Japanese women. I just don't think they're being trained properly. The promoters, the managers are not respecting them as much, because you're treating Japanese women like you're seeing them walking out in the streets of Japan, being drunk in, working hard on their butts 24/7, and they go out drinking and partying, and then they lay down on the streets flat-footed, and you see a bunch of them being involved in this triple X. It's so ridiculous. They're being involved. Like, man, Japan is filled off with a lot of it. But believe me, with a bunch of AV porn star actresses. And if you want to know, oh boy, yeah. Good. If you want to know more about AV porn actresses, good luck, because there's a good amount of them. Just believe me. Is it a healthy environment? Good luck. Look it up, because it makes me want to hiccup in a bad way, because that's what Japan is. But like I say before, you look up AV actresses and you're going to see a lot to it than it is. From Japanese actresses, and it's mostly adult content of craziness. It's the most vile of understanding. So what does this have to do with Japanese boxing for women? I just think that promoters, people do not want to push them. They don't want to give them credit. They're giving them title fights, but not in their country. They're not in the environment that they are putting themselves into. And I think that's the reason why Japanese women are not winning titles, because they're not being in a healthy environment, and they're not getting pushed into it as properly. It just seems like they're not getting pushed harder than Naoya Inoue or his brother Takuma Nakatani, or even the bantamweight boxers in Japan. It's just like, it's tough. And don't get me wrong, even in the heavyweight division, it's hard to find Asian boxers in the heavyweight to get pushed, because there's not a lot of them. And even the ones that are active, understand the Pacific region is really weak. There's not a lot of tough contenders in the Pacific region of boxing when it comes to the heavyweight division of Eastern Pacific. It's weak. So it's hard to find top contenders. And even when you become a champion in your country, or for winning the OPBF, it's hard to get recognition and have people pay attention to you. Like, I'm pushing them as best I could. I'm trying my best for my responsibility to promote these fighters, to give them the opportunity, and have people online and the promoters and people to give them a chance. And that's what I'm trying to do here. But for everything going on into the society and the politicians that are happening, and to the porn star adultery of Asia, I think it's getting really hard for them. And it's sufferable. It really is. So, and I feel bad about that. And I don't want anything for them to suffer whatsoever, because we got to give them a healthy environment and a chance for them to get the opportunity for what they are. Because Samiri Yamanaka almost came close, this close, last year ago. And technically, the fight ended in a majority decision for her opponent, Tina Rupert, winning with 2 judges. And again, one of them had it a wide 90-91, 195 even. And again, whoever scored it a 96-95 score, we'll never know. Again, I had that fight scored 95-94 for Yamanaka winning. And the round 9 punch in round 9, when Yamanaka scored out a left punch on Rupert, and the referee said, no mas, it's a no knockout. I just felt it was just so utterly, it was a robbery. And because Rupert was from Germany, and 2 of the judges were female from Germany, and the other one was a female from Belgium, I just couldn't see that to be questionable. And by the way, I also do realize that the judges that these Mexican women are these people are not. Like, understand, the commission that we are in, I'm still trying to find out. The commission D-Box Veracruz, I don't know much about this commission for Veracruz, Mexico. So we have to understand who these promoters are. Like Tiger Boxing Promotions of Gustavo Ramirez, Isaac Castron from the Castron Boxing Promotion. I want to know who these guys are, who the inspectors and who these people are, because we have to come up to a commission to understand, wait a minute, this is going to be unfair for that country to not win a champion when they're fighting in their backyard. We got to investigate this. Unfortunately, with all this being said, with no police, no surveillance, with no one investigating of this, which is the reason why the sport of boxing is becoming less and less relevant every time the year comes. And the more it comes like less irrelevant, the less titled for fans want to watch more boxing. And that's what's killing the sport. And it just seems like it's getting worse by the minute. And I think we have to fix this up for giving these countries a chance. And Japan is the most unluckiest out of the unluckiest for everyone else here. So it's sufferable. And I rest my case for it. I really do. And by the way, when looking at the commission of it, we also had a heavyweight boxing fight that happened with an American fighter named Austin Benson scoring a first round knockout that same night, winning his ninth pro fight. He's ranked number 162. He's living in Texas, born in California, Auburn, California. And nothing much about this entire show wreaks havoc. But again, there's a bunch of other fights that aren't much to talk about here. But again, I do want to try to understand more about the commission of this, because whoever decided to put the IBO Atomweight Championship belt on the line by this promoter, matchmaker, Gustavo Ramirez, I really want to know. And even the inspector, Ermelda Ramirez Perez, I really am questioning this, because the inspector has been around for 4 years, and the promoter of Tiger Boxing Promotions has been around for only 3 years. And even though he has been a trainer, as says on BoxRec, and a promoter, and he does train with his fighter of Olmos, so he is mostly training with his promoting fighters as we speak for his matchmaking, which is all we can say about this. But again, this guy, I am a little bit curious to know more about him, because he is on Instagram, and I do want to try to question about it. But again, I don't want to be under his authority, but I do want to try to answer him some questions and see if he can put in everything about this, because I actually want to talk to him and see if I can release some information on him and see if he can understand. I'm not going to tell him who I am, but try to see if we can have some talks. So I'm going to send some information and tell him about what you think about September the 19th. Hey, man. A podcast. How are you feeling about September the 19th show? Is it September the 19th? Yeah, September 19th. Okay. I hope he gets to answer something, because I do want to get to know more about this guy, actually, because I don't want to be under his authority, but I do want to give some information out just to see what we can see. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. I hope I could get word from Tiger Boxing Promotion and see what we can get up here as we speak. Oh boy. So right here we go. I remember. Wait, I know what I just remembered. I know what I'm actually here to talk about. Wait, let me type it in. I remember. Okay. I just remembered. My brain is finally remembering what I was at. I got to type this in. I'm gonna save this for last. Okay, I have the video here. I'm gonna save this video for last, just for the heck of it. I'm not gonna play this video now. I'm gonna save it for the end of the episode. I do have a couple more topics to talk about before we get to the finale of this, because the remainder of this video is crazy. So, okay, I'm gonna save this on my tab here so we can watch this, so I won't forget to talk about this now. And no, it has nothing to do with boxing, but it's just something really funny to watch. Okay, I gotta remember. Okay, at least I remember what I'm about to talk about in about 20 minutes. Oh boy. Okay. Let's just get back to the topic. Okay. So the news reports today on the 20th, as we speak, we have Bill Haney talking about what Shakura Stevenson's options for taking on Keyshawn Davis on the number 2 slot for the rankings today. We've had a lot of interesting moments where we had surprising wins with guys like Edmondson winning a 10-round fight against Arthur. We also had Marsado, a good old buddy that I do want to give credit to, who actually scored a second-round knockout just recently today against Burgos. We also have Perez defeating Gonzalez by a split decision like last week ago. I think I talked about that. But again, the real testimony here is surprising enough. Like the light heavyweight division is on their deepest division for British boxing, and it's pretty interesting. But also, what's actually surprising when coming into here, when talking about the topic, is surprising enough. Oscar Collazo is trying his best to. Unfortunately, his opponent Valdez comes in 6.2 pounds overweight. So, yeah, Collazo is only going to fight today for the title on the line. So, his opponent is overweight. The weight class for being in the minimum weight boxing is... Okay, so to be honest, the minimum weight of boxing, which is the lowest weight class for men's boxing, is the unlimited. It's unlimited, over limited, because if you want to be 60 pounds, 70, 80, 90, 100 pounds... the lowest you are is the minimum weight. But when you pass, because keep this in mind, the highest you can ever be in the minimum weight is at 105 pounds. Keep that in mind. It's like how the cruiserweight, you're at 200 to over 175 pounds. That's cruiserweight. And again, you're putting yourselves into it. If you're at 118 pounds to 115 in the middle, that means you're in the bantamweight. Super flyweight, 115 to 112. You got to 1012 to 108, that's the flyweight. So if you're at the light flyweight division at 108 pounds to 105, you're in the light flyweight division. But if you're at under 105 pounds, you are in the minimum weight division. So I can't really argue about that. I really can't. Oh, and by the way, the atom weight division for women's boxing is 102. Just for women. So, all in all, it's nothing terrible. It's not terrible, but I can't say much about that. By the way, let's find out the information. Oh, look at here. We have our good old buddy from... Wow, is he from Rhode Island? Yes, he's from Rhode Island. We have a good old buddy from Rhode Island, Demetrius Andrade. Demetrius Andrade, a former middleweight champion, has stated a comeback as he's past 40 years old ever since he lost against David Benavidez in 2023 with that surprising battle betwixt the two of them, when Benavidez had a hard fought against him and, defeated him by a 6-round stoppage. Or it was a 5th round, but it doesn't matter. It states that Andrade is now preparing to return on July next month at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. Okay. All right. This is going to be great. This is going to be... he doesn't want to be judged with his last performance. To be honest, I'm not really... Technically, I blame the boxing world for people not pushing him because Demetrius Andrade didn't take it. Like, Demetrius Andrade was a number 1 pound for pound fighter in the middleweight, for crying out loud. He goes up to the super middleweight division at the time, and no one gave a damn about him. And I blame the critics and people for giving Demetrius Andrade no respect. They were just treating him like he was a waste of time. He was just a waste. And it does upset me to see that, because I don't want people to be in that situation to waste their talent for no reason. Because before he took on David Benavidez, understand, Andre was a 32-0 fighter. He was a great dude. Ever since he was defending his titles, he was defending his WBO title, winning against good old fighters like name Soslenki back in 2019, who was a great Polish fighter at the time, and also lost against Kristen and Billy for the WBC interim title last year ago. And he even took on a guy named Liam Williams, which were okay fights. And even his win against Walter in 2018, which made him the WBO middleweight champion, he was a pound for pound killer by 2021. And he had 0 fights in 2022. No one gave a damn about him. His win against Darnell Nicholson, not Darnell, Damon Nicholson, I just thought to myself, maybe he has something, but no one wanted to push him. No one wanted to. So it does upset me that no one gave a dang about Demetrius Andrade. Like, just because he's a New England fighter and New England boxers have no talent anymore, doesn't mean you should give them an opportunity. And they should have given him a chance, because I thought he was going to have an opportunity against Canelo Alvarez. That would have been awesome. But no, they gave him the David Benavidez, which was for WBC interim World Super Middleweight Championship. And again, Demetrius Andrade did had some moments in that fight where he came in, he won the first round, had some moments in the second round, but the judges, some of the judges had other plans of scoring the fight, mostly in favor for David. I barely had Demetrius barely winning round 3, just barely. But by round 4, we got knocked out and got demolished from 5 and 6. Yeah, it was all done for. And even though they stopped the fight due to a cornerman stoppage, again, I thought Demetrius had something, but yeah, he wasn't better than David that night, but I can't say much about it. And this did lead David to leaving the super middleweight because no one gave a dang about him thanks to Canelo. So they gave him fights with Alexander Gvozdyk. Then he defeated David Morrell to become interim and WBA, interim light heavyweight a year ago, and then defeats David Morrell for regular WBA. Gets promoted to WBC, defeats Anthony Yarden in November, and then in May he defeats Gilberto Ramirez. So he's in a great stardom. Again, I just feel bad. Andrade should have deserved better. He should have. So Andrade has boxed since 2008. So if he comes back, wins a fight in July, this will be his 18th year in boxing, even though he hasn't fought in the 2 years from 24 to 25, but it's no bother. And what do I see for Demetrius? He might win a fight this year. He might win, which is in Connecticut. We don't know what his fighter is going to be. We do have Kevin Welsh, a featherweight fighter who also is from Massachusetts, ranked number 65 in the featherweight, and we don't know what his next fighter is going to be, but for Massachusetts, we also have Douglas Marquin, who is also from Connecticut, living in Connecticut as a New England citizen, and he's fighting against a decent 4-0 fighter from Florida, who hasn't been fighting for over a year. So, yeah, and this guy looks like a cherry pick. So, good luck for Douglas winning, and there has to be some interesting fighters here that can be in the division. It will be live on www.kessfights.com for tickets to get your tickets. If people have footage to record footage out there on the show, go for it. It's going to be interesting to see our good old New England fighter coming back. So, again, he believes he has what it takes. He's still an elite fighter, which I kind of believe him. He might have a couple years left in him. If he wins this fight easily, like Jermell Charlo did last year ago, he might have a chance. And it's possible he might actually have an opportunity. So, it's possible. Possible to see some interesting similarities here. We still have some interesting moments here for related stuff going on here, because Because if Andre wins a fight this year, depending on who his fighter is, wins, depends if he's going to be in the top 10 or not. He could get an opportunity. He might even get lucky for someone to vacate a super middleweight title. Who knows? He might fight Jermell Charlo, and he might out of nowhere do the unthinkable. Because at the end of the day, both of those guys have fought for 18 years or so from 2008 during their career. So I can't say much about that. So I don't think there's going to be much into that as we speak. It's going to be tough. So all I can say is good luck, Demetrius Andrade. It's going to be interesting with everyone else going here. Wait a minute. Oh, we have a little bit of a WB. Oh, we have another story about the Bridgerweight. Live on Boxing Scene, we have the Boxing Scene staff just released another update on the Bridgerweight division. After Bridgerweight Championship, which was actually from the WBC, since Kevin Lorena lost against Riyad Murray just last month ago on May the 30th, and Muslim Gadzhimagomedov, who has also been a 6-0 fighter, 3 knockouts, has been WBA Bridgerweight Championship, and I am going to follow the division up as much as I could. He hasn't fought since January 2025, which was against a cruiserweight champion of Thabiso Muchunu, which I thought that was a pretty good fight. And again, Gomedov, he is 29 years old. He will turn 30 in January next year. So, with all that being said, and when was his first fight? His first fight was in 2021 in pro. Well, I think he's still an amateur fighter, but still. But it says right here that the WBA moves to reduce number of champions and axes Bridgerweight division. Axes the Bridgerweight division. Damn. So the WBA has pledged to reduce the number of its world champions after announcing it will no longer recognize the Bridgerweight division. The Bridgerweight named as such because it bridges the gap between cruiserweight and heavyweight has not taken off, and the WBA has said it will no longer have Bridgerweight bouts once scheduled fights at the weight have taken place. The sanctioning body issued a statement that read, "The WBA remains committed to its goals in reducing the number of world champions, and our recent decisions continue to move in that direction. In this regard, it is important to note that 3 recently announced bouts have not been approved by the WBA as of this date. Additionally, the WBA announces that it will discontinue recognition of the Bridgerweight division. The remaining previous approved bouts in the weight class will be completed during a transition period. Thereafter, no Bridgerweight contests will be sanctioned by the WBA. The WBC is now the only sanctioning body that recognizes the weight class." End quote. Wow. So, that has to be the most smartest thing I've ever heard the WBA said. Like, don't get me wrong, I've been trying to support the Bridgerweight division as much as I could, talk about their fights and talk about the informations I did last year ago and the year before. I don't know. It's ridiculous. Like the last time here's the thing. Like, even though Muslim did fought in January last year ago in 2025, which was a non-title fight, his fights in July and October of 2024 were for the Bridgerweight vacant title and his title defense. And I will say, though, yeah, if they're not going to give him an opportunity, I don't know. It does confuse me. And it still confuses me because they're still giving him fights in amateur fights and no pro fights. Here's the thing. If Muslim Gadzhimagomedov, Gadjima Gomadov doesn't fight anymore in the pro or his career is done for, um, he might have something. For instance, like he has proven himself as a legit fighter. And even though Vartan, a guy named Vartan from Russia, won the vacant WBA interim championship bridgerweight belt, but now that's done for. It's like if Muslim doesn't fight anymore or his career is over for some reason and his 6-0 record is over, I'm still going to recognize him as an undefeated boxer with one championship belt. Even at the bridgeweight, I am trying my best to understand what we're trying to put ourselves here, but I do feel bad that the bridgeweight isn't going anywhere because I thought they were going to do something to do better, but yeah, stinks. Really does stink. It really stinks. So that's crazy, man. Got that news in. So yeah, we already talked about Valdez for Oscar Collazo and how that situation's going on with. Demetrius Andrade is trying to come back. Dimitri Bivol is peppering David Benavidez with Lyndon Arthur and everything else about that. What the frig is going on? The WBA is moving out away from the Bridgerweight division. And for all of that being said, we still have some pro fights going on here. We still have Lewis Crocker. Oh, and by the way, our good old fighter that was also in the division. As for the vacant WBC Interim World Super Featherweight Championship, was won by our good old buddy, the one and only Ryan Garner, who would actually come out of nowhere in a perfect 12-round fight decision today to defeat Michael Magnesi in a 12-round fight unanimous decision. Congrats to him and the 83.3% fans that predicted him to win the fight. Only 33.3% of them actually got their decision right. Only 6 predictions were on that entire... 6 people predicted the fight, and only a good amount of them predicted correctly. So, congrats on that. We still have some other fights here. We have Lewis Crocker taking on Perot from Australia. We still have the 27th of June where we have Zayas and Enos. The 27th, we have Mills versus Vargas and how that fight's going to take place in the Barclays Center. So, it's going to be doozy. And with all these fights and contests going on, I don't see the problem happening anytime soon. Like, it seems like we are in smooth sailing here. It seems like everything is going well as planned for the entire boxing show as we see, because it's actually becoming really amazing for what it is. Still trying to wait for update confirmation as we speak for the remainder of the entire show. June the 20th is still waiting for opportunities, as still waiting for what Oscar Collazo is going to do, because I don't know when that fight's going to happen, but we know that the fight is going to happen. But unfortunately, as BoxRec shows, BoxRec has stated that Oscar Collazo is now weighing at 110.5 pounds at a 111-pound quarter-pound fighter of Nidez, which this is going to be for the vacant WBO International Flyweight Championship. He's passing over 2 weight classes. Is this... I don't know what to say about this. This one's going to be really risky for me to talk about, because now Oscar Collazo is now going up to weight. So what's going to happen? Like, there's no way he's going to vacate the titles. Like, maybe he's going to keep the titles because he's still waiting for contract agreements for our African fighter Q's and Pedro Tendrin. So we might see what happens. It's going to be a doozy. Oh, boy. Crazy. But speaking about crazy guys, let's get to our final topic. This is actually the greatest thing I've ever seen. I only saw the first 30 seconds of this, and when I saw the first 30 seconds of this, it was crazy. So just 6 days ago, on the week around the time, we actually had a performance in Turkey. The country of Turkey was doing a performance of a ballet performance, where they were actors on stage reciting the quote of Shakespeare, of Romeo and Juliet. And out of nowhere, which I'll read the description, this is what the links in the description stated. And the YouTube channel is called Forever, no spaces, Friends. Fur is spelled with a capital F, ever, capital E, Friends. This video has 1.6 million views, and this is what it says. Quote, "Everyone came to watch Romeo and Juliet. Nobody expected the real star to be a cat. During the final scene of the ballet performance in Turkey, a curious ginger cat wandered onto the stage and decided that Romeo's hair was far more interesting than Shakespeare. The audience couldn't stop laughing. Juliet tried to save Romeo. The cat had other plans. And by the end of the performance, the entire theater had fallen in love with the unexpected guest." End quote. So, yeah, the video starts out with a woman sleeping on a bed with two, like almost like a, I don't know what the chairs are called. The chairs are similar, like if you're watching a piano concert in a ballet piano recital concert where someone walks over the stage to play the piano and they sit on that chair that doesn't have the backs like these do. Like, I don't know. So she's laying, there's a woman laying on a board with holding on to two of those things that where people sit on a piano. Just watch the video and you'll understand what I'm talking about. I thought it was a coffin. And then with Juliet, it shows Romeo laying on the cold, hard ground with the orange cat. And the orange cat just walks over. And there's quotes, recitals, and they show us there was a moment where Romeo is picking up Juliet from the sky, and they show us the cat walking around. And there was a part where I actually paused the video at the end where the cat, there's another camera angle on stage, backstage, where it shows a cat laying down, and someone just runs past him, and the cat got startled, and I was a little bit startled by that as well. So I had to pause that. And they also showed some bubble quote of what the cat, you believe the cat was talking or saying, but something along the lines of strangers everywhere over. So I had to pause the video right there just to see, because it's ridiculous, but it is funny. By the way, there's actually a song called Gloat by a guy named Patricios. I don't know if this is copyrighted, so I'm going to try to play the volume quiet, but I might talk too much, so what difference does it make? So here we go. Here's the video. Let's break it down on this one. Sorry about that. Performance, Romeo and Juliet in Turkey. Yep, read that. They're doing that, and the cat's laying by his shoulder. Decided to join the cast. Yep, watching the final tragic scene where they're just laying on the ground. Well, Juliet's laying on a board and whatever those things are called. Well, backstage. It's so ridiculous how no one could find the guy. Oh, yeah, and here's the part. According to the performance, the actor, the owner of the theater. Okay. And there he goes, and the cat gets startled where the guy just puts his hand in the air right over the cat. Became fascinated by his hair. Okay, this is the part I haven't seen yet. This is crazy. I love that he's actually trying to play dead, which is crazy. Here we go. Oh, she's grabbing him by the. Oh. I don't think that was part of the script. I don't think Juliet was supposed to do that, but it seems. Dude, I feel like the cat's trying to save them. Yeah, I'm sure Shakespeare would have found this as genius. I'm sure Shakespeare would have loved this so much as a tragic moment. Like, hey, wake up! You forgot my breakfast. How do I know? I'm dead. I'm dead. Dude, I can imagine the cat doesn't know what's going on. I know Romeo's not dead. And look at that. One of them is holding on to the cat for the performance. Dude, that's cool. This is so great, actually. I'm actually loving this. Dude, this is crazy. Like... Like, man, what's crazy about that is that I don't know what you have to say about that. It's like even though cats do have you can assume that a cat. I have seen videos on YouTube where I think some people play dead, and the cat walks up to them to see if they're okay, and then there's times that the cats are like, "Oh, he's okay. Your owner's okay." So cats are not dumb. So you could assume that maybe the cat thought he was not okay, or maybe the cat was trying to wake him up, because cats do feel that urge that something bad is happening and they want to help out or try to resuscitate the guy. So this cat decided to if he was trying to wake up Romeo, you can write this scene off. You can write this scene off as the cat is trying to help Juliet, trying to wake Romeo up and trying to help him and trying to resuscitate him, because you can assume that the cat's trying to help Romeo by waking him up and ripping his hair off, trying to grab him by the hair or something, bite him, trying to wake him up. And Juliet, because they're trying to play a scene here, so you're seeing Juliet grab Romeo's legs to get away from the cat, and it's so ridiculous. I don't know what to say. It's like you can write that off as genius. It's like if you're trying to make a performance like that, because understand, working with children and animals is the hardest thing to do in performances. You can't do it. It's impossible. Like if WWE didn't know how to handle those dogs during that Kettle from Hell match with Vince Russo's last ever time he ever worked with the WWF at that time, and how dogs weren't doing nothing in that entire cell match, then it's going to be impossible. But when things like this become an accident, it's just genius. Like you can write that off as the cat was trying to help Juliet out, and both the cat and Juliet are trying to help Romeo wake him up. It's really tragic. Like you can see that both ways, and I just find that to be genius. Like this might have been an accident, but I find this to be not just funny but entertaining, but well done truthfulness. Because if you're trying to show a cat what to do, or trying to put a cat on stage, or trying to do something, they might not do nothing. A cat might just lay there, just like the orange cat was doing. There was a moment where the cat was minding his own business, just laying backstage, and there's a moment where a person ran past him, and the cat didn't know what was going on. But then when you see the cat doing something that you don't expect it to do, it's just amazing. It's like, it's hard to teach a dog or a cat new tricks and trying to teach them what to do, but when they do it on their own, it's gold. It's not just comedy gold, but the performance is there, and that's the beauty of it. And I think that's what's great. This is actually the best performance you can ever see of a Romeo and Juliet, because I think that brings the level of tension more to it than what it is. So it really does bring that level up a lot more. Like, it would have been a lot more shocking if the cat was trying to sniff him, because I'm assuming the cat was trying to sniff him, but you did saw the cat decide to lay by him by his shoulder to see if he was okay. But you can almost tell, like the cat was almost like, what is Juliet doing? Juliet is making this mockery of a horrific scene. She's losing her mind. She's in desperate and sadness, and the cat doesn't know what's going on. Oh, it's so funny. It's so ridiculous. But man, what a time to be alive. Like, what a time to be alive in this world, to just find something that great. And this isn't AI. This is not AI. This is legit real footage, not AI. Like, dude, if this was AI, I would not show it. I have no business. I don't like the politician of AI, and I'm not supporting AI, not one bit. Never. But man, this was great. All right, well, thank you for watching this. That was the only thing I wanted to show you, viewers, from this, but technically, I'm just going to be curious to watch it. But curious to watch what Oscar Collazo is going to do. Good luck for Andre. Good luck for everyone else for the rest of this month, and we'll see what happens next time. And with that being said, see you in the next episode.